have to say I'm sad about Shinvala not really making the top 4 appearance, but then again, like you mentioned, it is more of a high roll hero where if you don't hit the elementals, it can be tough to get the discount as consistently as the Omu, which did perform second.
Yeah, you could see the Shambhala in the first round didn't get an elemental start, and that's the real drawback of this hero. If you don't get an elemental in the first like 3 hits, you're really going to be falling behind quickly from that point on. It looks like we're watching Elias. He's got a lot of decisions to make. Alexstrasza sometimes can be the high roll hero you're looking for, but Yogg and Finley are much safer choices. Yogg going to be the safest bet here to perform well.
I do think Yogg would have been my pick as well. I'm interested that you mentioned Finley. Do you think that Finley's average power level has gone up or down with this patch?
I think it went down with this patch because they nerfed all the best heroes, right? Finley, you basically want to copy the best heroes, but since they nerfed all the best heroes, right, his power level also falls down a little bit. But you can still pick any hero, right? So if you don't like your hero choice, you can go for the re-roll essentially and see if you like it from there.
And already turn 1, an interesting decision from Yogg here because, oh my gosh, he hits the token anyway.
What?
You could have seen him guaranteed take the token so he could go for the aggro Yogg start and buy 2 minions on the next turn. But from Habugabu, that is so funny.
He doesn't have a choice. He just has to buy the 1/1s and move on with his life. Yeah, I do think that hero powering for Yogg there signifies that he's not going to go for an aggressive start, because if he wanted to go for an aggressive start, hero powering and hitting this makes no difference at all, right? Because you're going to sell this to hero power, so you're going to lose the value. So it means that it'd be weird. Well, now that he hit a 2/1 token, he could continue doing it and just hold on to the 3/3. But most likely, if you do hero power there and not just regular buy the 2/2 elemental, it means you're most likely going to level. We'll see with this roll if he's going to change his plan. He is changing his plan because he does see the token and will go for the hero power.
This is what we call the aggro Yogg curve, where they do not level on the 4 gold turn when they're offered a token, which means that, you know, they're still able to get 2 minions on this turn. And the way that the curve plays out, they're still able to level to 3, the same as the rest of the majority of the field, because they get to level for 5 gold and just push the button for that last minion. For Habugabu, a while ago, we saw the triple righteous selfless heroes. No, righteous protector. Sorry, I always confuse those two. That's a bait this early on.
Yeah, definitely for sure. He wouldn't have been able to get the triple that easily. He wouldn't have really been able to dance on it that well. So it would have been a really bad start if you decided to lock and go for that. It looks like the Pyramid is going for the typical Murloc power spike here. I think this is one of the compositions that can work well with Pyramid as well as micro machine scaling.
Pyramid does have access to a different curve like all the other heroes with 1 cost hero powers. He is going to face off against Sined, his teammate, which is why he is not playing the Rockpool Hunter. I will say though, as far as ideal Pyramid targets, it's a bit unfortunate that he got the Tide Hunter instead of the 1/2 Tide Caller.
Yeah, I think Tide Hunter is pretty okay because you can sell the token turn 1 and hero power to start with a 2/5, which will be stronger than most of the things. And skill, as long as you get Murloc buffs, it can still be good. But the big issue is that it's going to fall off at some point if you don't consistently buy more Murloc buffs.
That is true. RDU here with the double deck swabbies means that he can utilize Omu and have the gold to immediately refresh and buy something from, hopefully, Tavern 3. And he does have access to one of the best Tavern 3 minions.
Yeah, he's going to be extremely strong this turn because of the Bronze Warden buy, but it looks like he's fighting his teammate. Oh, okay. If he was going to hold on to his hand, I would assume that he's fighting his teammate. He might still be fighting his teammate, but we know he's not because we can see who he's fighting against. But,
right.
Interesting turn.
That is right. I mean, at first glance, this board doesn't actually look that strong, but the fact that he has 5 minions on 6 gold, and the fact that the Bronze Warden can scale out of control a bit later on when he starts hitting the Twilight Emissaries means that it has a lot of potential later.
Yeah, Bronze Warden is one of the strongest minions you can get in the early game, and him having it on turn 6, usually people who are going to get it usually get it on turns on 7 gold or later. So unfortunately, Kaltaz has his ability power is really good for scaling in the early game, so RDU isn't able to overcome that advantage, but he's still in a good position.
Yeah, oh my goodness. I was going to say the big benefit of him leveling a turn before the field is that he'll have access to the 3 drops and already spike this turn.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he's going to sell the Gambler to get an extra spawn here. I think that would be a really powerful play. Yeah, he is going to do that. I think this makes a lot of sense considering that he's near the bottom of the lobby in terms of health advantage now. So he's feeling a little pressured. Probably needs to go for a little bit more power play, hit people for a lot. So you'll be surprised that maybe the Pyramid won't be expecting this amount of power coming out, assuming that he lost the round before.
All right, why don't we check in with the Pyramid, because last we saw him, he had a bunch of low attack Murlocs and high health, so he'll need a little bit more than that to deal with the spawn of N'Zoth, because previously the 2 attack minions weren't scary, but maybe with the spawn buffs they get to become threat.
You can see he spent that whole turn deciding if he should level or not. Just saying, he was deciding, do I want to buy those Murlocs and go, or do I want to level? Yeah, and now he probably decided to level because he saw that RDU lost heavily in the round before, so he's thinking to himself, oh, he's not going to be that strong. I can probably afford to level and not get punished here. And RDU's like, no. I'm here to smack you, so he's really going to be taking a little bit extra damage than he was assuming.
As soon as typical Hanzo saw the board state, you could see him shake his head, and it was so crucial that his Murloc hit the spawn there. It was still possible to get some value trades because the second spawn didn't die off immediately, but in the end, takes a hefty chunk of damage, care of RDU's board, but we do have Alexis Diesel on the Millhouse, which means you always pick up every free dealing gambler you can find for just that +1 gold.
You can see he's already on Tavern 4 with 8 gold with a full roll, right? You can see normally Millhouses are pretty healthy in the early game because they can spike really heavily, but you can see that he was going for a more leveling composition where he probably took a lot extra damage that he needed to just so he could level earlier and make a power play on this turn.
And I feel like this is roughly... Okay, I was going to say 1 turn before the power play because it looked like he had very little time left on the clock. But these are Battlegrounds pros and streamers that we're dealing with here. He still gets in almost all of the actions, getting a near full Murloc comp.
He does, though, waste 4 gold, so we do have to point that out, that he wasn't able to do everything in the turn. I think he could have waited a little bit longer. Even if he took a little bit extra damage here, he's still in a good position and probably could have waited for a big power spike the following turn. But he does win. Oh, no, he just won this round, unfortunately. So even though with all the good... Oh, he does tie. Okay. Okay, so with the plays he made, he was able to tie to avoid damage. It would have been really unfortunate if he made those plays and ended up not even tying there and taking a lot of damage, so that's good to see.
And it's such a big deal that he does end up not having to freeze there, because as Millhouse, you definitely value every single refresh you can get, especially when you're on a Murloc comp where it's heavily dependent on trying to find those Gurgles. He already does have Brand, though.
It looks like this Omu is trying to get into a Caligos position. If he can find a triple, he'll be in a really good spot for Caligos if he hits that. So kind of an interesting freeze here. This freeze kind of dictates that he's maybe looking for the Genie because Genie can get Amalgadons and he really wants that. But not a pick for the composition he's playing right now.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring that up because you mentioned first it's a perfect setup for Caligos, but that just goes to show you the power of Genie, that even if you don't have any support for it at the moment, you can still freeze for it and just have that constant value engine, which sometimes drops you a game-winning card like Lil Rag.
Unfortunate hero power for the Pyramid there, hitting the one minion he probably didn't really want to hit. He does have Light Fang, so he could consider keeping that for Light Fang scaling.
Yeah, this is, I want to say, a tough position for the Pyramid to not have too many minions at the moment, so it's going to be a while before the Light Fang can actually get full value.
Yeah, he's actually not in as horrible a position as it seems at first glance, just because his minions have a lot of health. If they can get buffed with the Light Fang, he can really utilize those health advantages to mitigate a lot of extra damage. He does need to find a full board or a direction that is cleaner than Light Fang, because it doesn't look like too good for him right now.
There's a decent mech that he could have gotten there, but it looks like he is going for something more impactful. And typical Hanzo is stressed out. Bob is not cooperating. What minion do you think he's really looking for here on Tavern 4?
There's no beasts and there's no demons, right? So he's probably looking for a good mech to play. Most of the time when you have Lightfang, you want to be buffing minions that have extra abilities in their attack, probably Divine Shield or probably Cleave, right? So Full Reaper, Deflectobot would be the key things he'd probably want right now. But he needs to fill his board. That's probably the most important thing. So he's decided he wants the hero power. And he only has a couple of rolls left, so he's probably just gonna try to fill his board here.
This Anoia module is so clutch. You were mentioning how Divine Shield is exactly what he's looking for. Honestly, in that spot, if I've seen the Security Rover, I was like, that has an additional ability. I'll probably settle here. But typical Hanzo realizes that he needs something more impactful that can better use the attack buff from the Lightfang. But he does get an unfortunate roll with the hero power.
Yeah, he still doesn't have a full board, so he's actually in a difficult position. You can see that RDU is kind of transitioning away from the dragons at this point. Found the Nomi, found the Jin. The Jin gave him a little rag, is probably my guess. So he's got a new game plan now, it looks like, based on the luck he got.
And that's why you freeze for the Genie, even though you are a Caligos comp, friend.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very, very lucky there to be able to hit the pieces he needs to scale. So we might see him slowly transitioning away, probably maybe keeping the Divine Shield Dragons just because they scale really well with Little Rag, but we might see the Ragnaros leaving in a couple turns.
Wow, that is a ton of damage that he deals to Sined there. Yep. Obviously, the Little Rag is there to stay around.
Oh, no.
Oh, unfortunate with the Brand Murlocs. I did not expect the Millhouse player to get eliminated that quickly. Alexis Diesel, unfortunately, it now means that Oliash really has to carry.
Yeah, I think what happened there is that he was stuck between two decisions. He had the Elemental comp scaling at the beginning and then found the brand and found the lookout and decided, okay, I'll try to go Murlocs there, right? But he wasn't on 5, right? So he couldn't have hit extra Bagurgos to make his power spike efficient. He had a turn to where he could have leveled earlier, probably didn't, and was taking too much damage to make powerful plays after that movement.
And despite Oliash being in the lead here, the fact that his teammate is lost now means that it's really the RDU Habu Gabu team that we have to keep our eyes on. They're about to face each other next round, and they're currently in 2nd and 3rd, so already looking like favorites to win the lobby overall in terms of total points. We can see RDU positioning the spawn on the far right just to make sure that it's the lowest power level on his board as possible, but it looks like he's still much stronger than Habu Gabu.
Yeah, we'll see. It does look like RDU is probably one of the stronger people in the lobby, but it looks like the Daryl has a big Deflecto bot, so hopefully that can carry him.
Yeah, 3 resets up to, so depending on how the trades on the Deflecto bot goes, maybe Habu Gabu can save some HP here, but the problem is that RDU's minions are of a super high tier, so if anything gets left on board, he could be taking a big hit.
I think the Deflectobot's in a good position to actually win the round. I don't actually think RDU will be winning this round. Just the Deflectobot with all the resets will be too strong for the Omu's board to handle, most likely.
And that's the perfect outcome because RDU did have the time, he took the time rather to just level up because he knew he was facing his teammate, and that means that RDU now has access in the tavern to the very high tier elementals, getting all the buffs with Lil Rag, and of course he also has the Nomi committed, so
oh wow,
big feeling.
Impressive, they actually tied. I thought that the Deflectobot was gonna chunk everything out, but they actually were able to position themselves in a way to get a perfect tie. You love to see it.
Yeah, that worked out so well. And Sined was actually just, he was, I don't know how much health he had before that, but just taken out just like that.
Yeah, in these high-level lobbies, you're not really safe unless you're full life, and even then, you're not really safe. You can still. I've seen a couple of 40 damage in the lobbies of mine as well. So you really got to be careful that you are in a strong spot and not feeling comfortable just because you're high health. Because one small moment, one power spike from your opponent, you can just take too much damage and get perfect lethal or overkilled for a lot.
TJ coming in with the notes for us that are not quick-witted enough. I'm sorry, that's me to really take note of everything. But it turns out Sinna did die to the ghost there. He had a Murloc comp but wasn't able to scale into anything. That is really rough.
That is unfortunate. Losing to a ghost might mean that he really didn't have any game plan that was effective for the composition that he was running. So unfortunate for him there.
What it means is that his chat is surely giving him hell right now.
Probably. I know mine would. So.
Here we go again with Havugabu, his Deflecto bot once again being the main piece of this comp, but he has had the time to dance on the Selfless Hero, a minion that you probably just settle for if Bob gives you nothing better, like we saw a while ago, and that Daryl did end up taking first place last lobby. Oh, that hit on the Deflecto!
Oh, he's actually probably gonna lose to the he's gonna lose to the
by
micro
one
machines.
right microbot.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
We haven't watched the Celti's the test player here, but test is kind of a difficult hero to pilot just because you're relying on what your opponents are doing. So it's kind of interesting to see what he's running. He's running a standard Divine Shield composition, trying to utilize his Divine Shields to cheese a top 4 placement.
And he did just face a mech player, at least partially, from Havugabu, so we could potentially see the Burgle here, except that his natural shop is already pretty good, with another Deflectobot and the Replicating Menace. Just doesn't have room.
He has a hard decision to make here. Is he? I do think picking up the Deflectobot and the Micro Machine will be probably a really good play, a decent upgrade. The question is, what will he replace? Will we be replacing the Spawn? Spawn's been doing really well for him right now, but he's actually rolling those minions away. I'm a little bit surprised that he didn't want any of those minions. They probably weren't good enough, and they probably wouldn't have upgraded his board, so decided to pass along for that.
I'm surprised by that because I would almost always snap pick Replicating Menace, but it does go to show how much Sir Salty values all the minions here. The egg is valuable as a reset. The Shredder, I think, also has a Menace slapped onto it, so that can't be sold. And the fact that the Spawn is golden and is continuously buffing the Gold Grubber also means Sir Salty doesn't want to let go of it. And the Bolvars are a pair.
I think the reason why he skipped the Deflectobot was that he knows that he wouldn't be able to play the Deflectobot on this board right now. He would definitely get weaker if he tried to sell 2 minions to get the Deflectobot and the Micro Machine on the Deflectobot. So he realizes that, oh, I could make this play. It would make me stronger long term, but it wouldn't make me stronger now. And I'm feeling pressured. I'm in 10 lives. This might be my last battle, so I have to make sure that the plays I'm making makes me stronger. That's why he rolled for it. He ended up picking up the Deflectobot anyways, just because he rolled down. That was his last gold. He knew that he couldn't really invest into anything else. But the reason why he didn't go for the Deflectobot pick up that turn was because it wouldn't have made his board stronger, and he couldn't afford it.
Incredibly disciplined play, and he does end up taking the win here against typical Hanzo, but Hanzo survives by his last legs. We do see, however, Oliash getting completely destroyed by this Omu. RDU looking strong once again with the Elemental comp.
Yeah, definitely a good... Yeah, Triple Nomi is really nice to see. You really only see that with Renos these days because you hit so hard to get that triple, but looks like he's got it and has a really good scaling now. Double Rag, Triple Nomi. Insane scaling for RDU right now. It looks like he made the good decision of selling the Razor Gore that we talked about and the Elementals and the Bronze Wardens that we talked about. Committed completely to the scaling option for Elementals, and that paid off handsomely.
It just goes to show what kind of meta we're in when you just use Caligos as 1 gold to keep scaling. Misses the poison on the second Amalgadon, but honestly, it is not a big deal. I do believe we have mech players left in the lobby, so it's really tough to outscale the size of these minions with a mech comp.
Yeah, and Murlocs are in the pool, so he can just find a Toxfin and put poison on it that way. The real important thing was hitting the Divine Shield. I think he has enough attack that it essentially has poison already, but if he is fighting other elemental players, he will be able to find a Toxfin and put poison on that as well.
Well, Nomi is just insane, right? I was gonna say the one problem he might have had before he had that is not having enough board space, because you tend to see Little Rag and the Nomi as not your threatening minions, but rather the minions that help you build your board. But now that they've all combined and gotten big enough, they are threats and also are continuing to build up his other biggest minions.
Yeah, it looks like RDU's got a good game plan here. Very smooth, very easy game plan to win the lobby outright. So we'll see if he can pull off the consistent gameplay, or will someone come from behind with an upset.
It'll definitely have to be between Habu Gabu and typical Hanzo, because Sir Salty is going to be biting the dust after this. And Habu Gabu is RDU's teammate. Oh my gosh!
Oh wow, they've secured top 1 and top 2. A nice performance from Habu Gabu to solidify their dominance in this lobby continued.
That just worked out so beautifully, all the way from how many turns ago when they engineered the perfect tie, which gave RDU the time to level up and make sure that he could do all of this insane cycling and have the maximum amount of minions in the shop, so he could find the triple Nomi and also just get the most expensive elementals for maximum Will Rag buffs. Chef's kiss.
Yes, very, very clean play from these two players. I don't think the Daryl has a chance, but you know, you never know. Some people like to try their luck, see if they can pull it off here. I don't think we'll be seeing any upsets today.
I mean, we did see yesterday, though, the full board sell. And I'm not sure if that board has as many stats as RDU's at the moment, but RDU could still do something for the memes.
Oh man! All right, Daryl's got his game plan. He's not giving up. He's still gonna continue on trying to do the best for his community here. We'll see if he can pull it off. I have my money on it. No.
Oh my goodness, this just looks like bullying when I look at this board and the other board, but it's just a good thing for Habu Gabu that this is, of course, his teammate. And you know what? This team, we did say they were the ones to watch. For me, personally, I know them more for their constructed play, because RDU, of course, a Grandmaster, and Habu Gabu recently having a top 8 in MT Montreal. So the fact that they're able to put in these great results in a different game mode as well makes it doubly impressive.
Oh, it looks like he's gonna kill 2 minions, 3 minions. Wow, nice to see. Very impressive.
I have to say, that's 2 more than I expected he would kill.
That is most likely true. Looks like RD is going to take the top spot here, getting a clean elemental game. Makes a lot of sense with the minions that were banned as well.
It all comes off the back on that Genie freeze, which really, I think, paints a great picture of what the meta looks like at the moment. Even if you have 5 out of 7 minions on your board, dragons, no elementals whatsoever, you still freeze for the Genie, just because it can be a value engine and it can drop game-winning pieces like the Lil Rag.
Yeah, the Genie really being the deciding factor for RDU's game plan. You could see he was considering going for a Kelly Ghost gameplay, but hit the Genie, froze the Genie. The Genie gave him a Little Rag, and then he also rolled into a Nomi that turn afterwards, and was like, all right, I know what I'm doing now. I'm just going to lock in all the elementals I can see.
And that does mean soon we can look at the standings. Obviously, the red team will come out ahead all by the rest of the field by at least a full first place worth of points. 7 points difference between the second players, which are Izium and Sir Salt.
What a massive turnaround. You could see from the first lobby that the black team was actually in first place. Due to the performance this round, getting 8th and 5th was unable to keep up that first place performance, and ended up falling all the way down to 4th place now.
Yeah, that is quite unfortunate. In terms of heroes that we've seen top performing so well, that Daryl in the first lobby was a surprise, but I do think that Omu is in a good position to perform as well as it did for RDU, even throughout the rest of the lobbies today. However, for the black team, even though they have fallen far behind, and even orange and blue, they're just a couple points away from each other, there's still so much action to be played out. 3/4 of the day still left, so the red team can't be resting on their laurels quite yet.
Yeah, they still have a lot to do. You could see from the previous tournament yesterday that even though you got a head start, you have to continuously perform. You know, first place, second places all throughout if you want to move on to the next round. So we'll see if they can keep it up. They've got a good start. Hopefully the other challengers can pull out the rear.
That's right, Collins. And also from yesterday, don't forget that the amount of first places you get in a vacuum also matters because of the tiebreakers. We did have two teams end up on the same exact amount of points after all the lobbies were said and done. So it came down to which team had more first places between them. A lot on the line here. Definitely a lot more Battlegrounds action to come. So don't go anywhere, guys. After this break, we'll bring you the next two